If you think the NAACP's Out of Bounds initiative is crazy, let me introduce you to Kylan Hill. This young man took a courageous stand that changed an entire state. This week, the NAACP asked student athletes to boycott schools in states across the South that are working to dilute black political power through gerrymandering. The idea is that if you mess with these folks' money and the teams they love, they'll think twice about violating our communities. And predictably, some folks are acting like this plan is unrealistic. But history is on the NAACP side. The year was 2020, and Mississippi state flag still featured the Confederate stars and bars. That's crazy. People have been trying to get the flag changed for decades. But at the height of pressure, Kylan Hill, who had just been named the state's best player the year before, he took a stand. He posted this on Twitter: "Either change the flag or I won't be representing the state anymore. I'm tired." It is widely believed that by using his leverage, Kylan Hill had an outsized impact on the state's decision to change the flag. The NAACP isn't asking you to have your skull fractured like 25-year-old John Lewis on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. They aren't asking you to be beaten in jail like Fannie Lou Hamer. They aren't asking for student athletes to have food smashed on their heads or to get stomped out during a desegregation demonstration. They're asking families to use their leverage in a moment where equal protection under the law is fading fast, when the voices of black communities are being erased, in a time where we need more radical action. You're being asked to do what you can, and I don't think that's unreasonable at all.
The NAACP wants a boycott. And though I get it, it doesn't make sense to me. And the reason why it doesn't make sense is because the NAACP and the Congressional Black Caucus have seen what was coming, because Black America, we've seen what was coming for years. You knew what they were going after affirmative action. We didn't, it was like, okay, but it really doesn't necessarily affect us, but you knew that already. You knew that, once DEI was created, they was going to go after DEI. You get what I mean? You knew it was the Voting Rights Act that was next. You knew all of this stuff. All of you guys who are, in politics and quote unquote are fighting for the community, what y'all were doing that in general that whole time is just like, let's worry about the immigrants and let's worry about empowering Black women, and that's cool. But let's worry about the gay community to a degree, but not so much. Let's worry about religion and what do you call that? Just gestures for show. You know what I mean? Let's just act like we're doing something. Let's put a statement out. It's like y'all not really doing anything. So in essence, at the end of the day, the next move is, this current move is, let's get some kids either fresh out of high school, a year, 2 years, maybe 3 years, maybe. Yeah, let's get them to boycott just the schools in the South. And I'm looking and I'm like, can I tell y'all something? Because a lot of the people in the NAACP and a lot of people who are in the Congressional Black Caucus, where did y'all go to school at? Because this whole time, I remember when HBCUs was a thing and they had great talent and people went from HBCUs to professional sports. But what I also remember is y'all didn't care about the overseeing of the finances of the schools like that, even though the schools were getting underfunded. So while these other schools, because I graduated in 2001, but 2002 is when I walked, because I graduated in the fall. I remember, and I hate to say it this way, I've seen in the last 20 years how HBCUs have really expanded compared to PWIs. And I'm not even talking about the big ones. And the mismanagement of the funds is one of the reasons why you didn't get a bigger population, a more competitive population of Black kids. A lot of times people don't want to talk about part of that integration thing, even in the, from the 60s, 70s, 80s. Because in the 90s, I think was the last time the HBCUs had a run of actual multiple players that went to the NFL that drew attention. And this goes back to Coach Prime. Shout out to him when he was at Jackson State. And what was the issue? People were stealing money. And if they wouldn't have stole money and kept it going, Shador would have went pro from Jackson State. Travis Hunter would have went pro from Jackson State, and a couple of other players probably because of the winning and the because I remember they had a dope linebacker and whatnot. And then that would have brought more attention to the HBCUs, but y'all don't bring that part up. Yes, America does racist stuff. I definitely agree with it. I definitely agree that it does racist stuff. But for you adults, for you quote unquote elders and leaders who saw this coming down the pike for the last 10, 15 years, now you want kids to fix it. Because what they're really talking about is football and basketball players. And here's the thing about that. What you want? Go north. Oh, so you act like if you went to the Big Ten, it's different. Like now it makes it's messed up to say it this way, but now you want kids to go to the north for their freedom. And it's like, bro, y'all don't care about these kids the same way the schools don't care about these kids. And I know you want people to make sacrifices for the greater good, but here's the issue, even with the NAACP and the Congressional Black Caucus in general. You don't know how to treat somebody who makes sacrifices like quote unquote Colin Kaepernick. So now you want kids to do it, and we already know how the NFL and the NBA responds to that. They just, we're gonna act like this guy don't exist. We won't draft him, and that's even if he's a top 10 top talent or first round talent, or we just gonna say he has issues and he gonna go to the third or fourth round so he can make less money, and then the NAACP can be like, well, oops, it is what it is. That's the issue. It's not because you want to boycott. And truth be told, it's not just Southern schools, man. There's racism at Michigan. There's racism at Penn State. There's racism at Michigan State. I'm just naming, I remember somebody brought up Missouri. Missouri's still in the SEC, but Springfield is pretty racist. You get what I'm saying? Like, Illinois, Indiana. Come on, G. Like, stop playing this game. Like, you want to take the money. We got to take the money from the South and give it to the North. And for how long are we going to do this until y'all turn around? Because is it going to change the voting? No. And here's the thing about that. And the reason I'm thinking about this because I remember being in college, and because I was at Southern at the time, and because we were on campus, and some of us were from out of state, like I was. I graduated from college out of state. Well, I graduated from high school in Illinois, and so we had this voting issue. But come to find out, they gave us a hard time voting because we were college students, because we weren't from the quote unquote cities that we were going to college at. And I'm thinking it's a Baton Rouge thing, but no. Same thing was happening in Texas. Same thing was happening, if I'm not mistaken, in Florida. Same thing was happening, I want to say in Alabama and Georgia. It had to be Mississippi, because they were trying to, make sure we didn't help voting per se. And that had been going, and in years after I graduated, the same thing was still happening, because I saw stories about it on the news and PV. And I say that to say the NAACP has been known about this type of stuff. So it's not a good look. and people want to play the game of like be like the athletes back in the day, Jim Brown and Bill Russell and Muhammad Ali, and the ilk of those it was a multitude of other guys but I'm just using them as the big names at the time, because it was a coalition of brothers, but all of them were professionals. None of them were in college. You get what I'm saying? They weren't in college still doing this because they were already dealing with Jim Crow as is. So, and Jim Crow is why most of the people were going to HBCUs and then USC really, and UCLA, but and slowly but surely, because black athletes were wearing folks out, they started going to now what we consider SEC schools. But at that time, they were at HBCUs. That's how you got even Charles Oakley. Charles Oakley, of course, Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, Jimmy Smith, Jackie Slater, Michael Strahan, Jake Reed. People don't remember Jake Reed was dope. I forgot the brothers because I'm doing like 80s, 90s, but it's too many. Of course, Mean Joe Green. I believe Mean Joe Green, but I know Deacon Jones for sure. Sheesh. Oh my goodness. Who was the one at Tennessee State? Gilliam, Joe Gilliam. I think Rodney Hampton. I believe Rodney Hampton. You know, I'm thinking about that. I remember Bobby Fields was the hooper. You know, I forgot that doggone linebacker. Oh, Ashley Ambrose. Southern Grambling. Dang, I forgot this linebacker's name. It's on the top of my head. Up to what was it, Maniac that played in what is it, Darius Leonard. He went to South Carolina. Ben Coates. I remember Ben Coates. Shoot, Doug Williams for sure, but I'm thinking of other people. Steve McNair, Lord have mercy. I'm having a moment. Steve McNair. It's some other folks. I want to say Joystick. Yeah, Joystick went. I just forgot Joystick name. Tariq, because he played for the Bears. Yeah, I heard Tariq Cohen. Anyway, like I'm sometimes I'm blanking, but that has been a thing. You know what I mean? And the reason that it's been less of a thing is because people made PWIs more important because of the money. And if it's about showing black excellence and power, just use the money right. Because bringing up PV earlier, PV is tied to Texas A&M, and because of that, they have a financial way of they have to be more fiscally responsible because they're like a sister college, and because of that, PV is like the best built HBCU. It's crazy to say that, but you can see what they've done with their money. I forgot. Houston, because it's a Hall of Fame safety from PV. Houston, I forget his last name. His last name is Houston. He was a safety for the Oilers. But just getting back to it, if they did the right things, we wouldn't have to even talk about boycotts in the first place. So, and I've been to HBCUs and the scandals, and I'm not saying PWIs don't have financial scandals, because they do, but they cover it up better. I can tell you that. Like, I remember going to Southern my first day, driving from New Orleans to Baton Rouge. It was the radios. You know how the radios change when you go from town to town. The radio shifted. One of the ladies that worked for Southern was at the casino spending people's financial aid money. And it's like, and I've seen school presidents redirect money to themselves. cars, redo their offices when they could have helped the campus. There's all kinds of stupid stuff. School presidents and the staff just doing outlandish dumb stuff financially, and then like, oh, we need to help. We need the community to come together to help the school. No, you just blew the money, G. But I digress, man. I'm gonna leave it at that because I got stuff to do. So catch y'all on the next one. Peace.